Right about now, the candidate for Cuyahoga County Executive, Mr. Lee Weingart, in the building. Hello, Lee. How are you?
Hello, Larry. It is so good to be back. This is my third or fourth time on the show.
This is your third, actually your fourth time, I think it's third time here, fourth. Listen,
They've all been great, so I've enjoyed every one of them.
I've enjoyed every one of them. So, again, you've been here. And I got to my left, Mr. Colin Jackson. He's going to stay silent. That's the first time ever I have heard Colin be silent right about now. I ain't picking with him. This young African-American man has been working his tail off for your campaign. And that is the reason why I support you. So you are running for the Cuyahoga County executive position. Your opponent is Chris Ronayne, who on the other side, on the Democratic side, you're Republican. We already know that. But it doesn't matter about parties. It matters about people, correct?
I agree. And let me put a plug in for Colin. Colin joined our campaign a few months ago and has just energized what we're doing on the East Side. And I've really prioritized the East Side, Larry, as you know, from the very beginning. And bringing Colin onto our team has just added a new dimension, a new layer of power. So we're very excited to have him part of our team.
I understand that. So speaking of your team, you want to shout out anybody else? I know Colin's here. I know I met Jake and everybody else who's been here as well. So anybody else you want to shout out?
So Brandon Gibson, our campaign manager, Jake Gehrman, political director, Jennifer Grogan, who is an associate, a scheduler. She's a doer of all things. So I've got a really strong, small, close-knit group, but they're the reason we are where we are right now, which is on the verge of an historic victory next Tuesday, November 8th.
Exactly. So a question. And I probably already know the answer to this. Why should people vote for you to be Cuyahoga County Executive over Ronayne?
Because I have a vision to invest in the urban core, where we've not invested for over 100 years. A vision that includes helping 10,000 families become private homeowners, bringing them security, wealth, and safety. A focus on creating 4,000 good-paying jobs in the urban core so people can walk or take a bus to work. And I define good paying as at least $25 per hour, plus benefits, and not all requiring a college degree. And then a $10 million fund to help 250 urban entrepreneurs form and grow new businesses. So through private home ownership, targeted job creation, and new small businesses, we create wealth that starts and stays in the urban core, and we finally address unemployment, poverty, hopelessness, and crime.
Right. And that's the big things: education, jobs, career, hopelessness, crime are big issues, especially in the African-American communities, especially on the East Side. So when you are elected Cuyahoga County Executive on November 8th, what is the first thing you're going to do when you get in office after you're sworn in?
So the first thing I'll do when I become county executive is to bring my team in, and I'm going to have a team that reflects Cuyahoga County. So both in race and gender and economic and political outlook, I want to have a broad-based team. I am a Republican. There aren't many of us in Cuyahoga County. If we're going to be successful in government, we need to bring in a diverse team, and I will do that. We need to focus on the jail. 2 people died yesterday in the county jail, bringing us to 18 deaths since 2018. That is a major problem. I doubt any county in America has that many deaths in its county jail since 2018. We need to fix that immediately. That requires a long-term strategy of a renovated jail too, probably a smaller new jail downtown, but immediately we need to ensure that the defendants who are in the custody of Cuyahoga County are treated safely and humanely.
Okay, so 2 of these people that died in Cuyahoga County Jail, fortunately that's sad because, the one reason that a lot of people are trying, I think one of the reasons that Budish is leaving is because of the deaths in Cuyahoga County Jail. So were they violent or nonviolent?
So neither of them was arrested on a nonviolent offense. One was a 47-year-old woman. Second was a 32-year-old man. Neither one arrested on a violent offense. Under my jail reform plan, they would not have been in jail in the first place. They would not have died yesterday.
So they would still be under your administration. They would still have been living, correct?
They would be. Because they were arrested on a nonviolent offense, they would have been diverted if they needed mental health or addiction counseling. If not, we would have sent them home with a summons to come back for their trial.
Okay. So, and what does your opponent, Mr. Ronayne, think about people dying in Cuyahoga County Jail? Because this is one of the reasons that we have a whole bunch of protests. A lot of people, especially the jail reformers and things of that nature, that they march downtown.
Let me tell you what he said about people dying in the county jail to Scene magazine earlier this year. And I'm quoting, "When you look at national averages across metros like ours, there are unfortunately some deaths that occur, maybe 2 to 4 deaths a year. But when you double that number or triple that number, you've got a problem." So what he's saying is the first 4 deaths in the county jail aren't a problem. I think every death in the county jail is a problem. When I was county commissioner 25 years ago, people didn't die in the county jail. Chris Ronayne believes that at least 4 deaths per year is acceptable in our county jail. And I don't think a single death is acceptable, and I will work toward a solution to ensure that people do not die in the county jail. I don't think 4 deaths a year, which Chris believes is a cost of doing business and running a jail, is the right answer. The right answer is having a safe environment to keep people who are being held in our jail. Because recognize, these people who are in the jail have not been indicted, they have not been arraigned, they have not even been tried. They are being held pre-trial, so they're not guilty of anything. It is incumbent upon Cuyahoga County to provide a safe and humane environment for the defendants in the county jail so that nobody dies in the county jail.
Wait, so wait a minute. So this water bottle is filled with water. I'm just gonna sit this right here. This water bottle, there's 8 water bottles. So 4 of them bust. So these water bottles represent the bodies of the people in Cuyahoga County. So 4 of them bust. We just chalk up the 4 like they don't count?
What he would say is at least the first 4 are not a problem. Chris Ronayne believes that 4 deaths per year is to be expected. I think no deaths per year is to be expected and to be achieved when I am county executive.
All right.
He really said, hold on. He really said that.
In the Scene magazine.
It's in Scene magazine. I read you a direct quote.
Wow.
So I got a question. How would you use the diversion center?
Well, I would use it. Let's start with that. The diversion center has 50 beds. When I visited the diversion center 3 months ago, 3 of the 50 beds were in use. Now, I'm pretty certain there were 47 people sitting in the county jail who were there on a non-violent offense, who had an addiction or mental health challenge that could be treated better in the diversion center. So let's start by using it. And then we'll fill it, and then we'll have another diversion center. This is the best way to reduce the jail population, to solve our jail problem with a smaller jail system, to rely more on diversion and treatment for those who are arrested but are not violent.
All right. So I'm going to get to this question, and this goes back to the record, and I hate to harp on this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. And when Chris Ronayne was part of the University Heights Police Department, 84% of African Americans were ticketed. Only 33% live in 33% African is 33% of the population in University Heights is African American. So, how do you feel about running against somebody who helped ticket dang near the whole population of African Americans in University Heights?
So Chris was in charge of the University Circle Police Department for 16 years. For a 5-year period that was studied by a third party, 88% of all tickets issued by his police force issued to black drivers. He found out about it in October of 2021. Now, he should have known about it all along, but he found out about it in October of 2021. He said, it's horrifying. It needs to be fixed. That's right. It was horrifying and it needed to be fixed. He said he would fix it. 11 months later, it wasn't 88% of the tickets issued to black drivers. It was 94%. 94%.
So he just went up like a good.
It went up by 6%. All of this is documented on a website called 94black.com. That's 94, the number 94black.com. We've posted the citations issued those 11 months to black drivers. You can see them for yourself. But it goes beyond that, Larry. In 2018, Chris Ronayne signed an agreement with the city of Cleveland that required him to form a civilian review committee so that those who were pulled over by his police would have an outlet for their complaints, somewhere where they could go to protest the fact that they were being targeted by Chris Ronayne's police. He didn't form that committee in 2018 or 2019 or 2020. He only formed it in 2021, and the committee met. The only meeting the committee held was September 30th, 2021, the last day Chris Ronayne was employed by University Circle Incorporated. He didn't care about those drivers. He said he would fix it. He failed. That's his brand of leadership. That's something we cannot afford in Carroll County.
Wow.
Okay, so Ms. Jackson, you have a question for Lee? You have anything to say?
I'm pondering over here. You can continue until I get it together. I'm just going on this situation here where, that they think it's okay to lose any lives.
In Cuyahoga County Jail?
Yes.
Yeah, we've been going through this for years.
Like, I can't understand it.
Makes you want to move back to Florida, don't it?
But Larry, but we weren't going through it. So back when we had an elected county sheriff, we didn't have people dying in the county jail,
Right.
which is why I have called for an elected county sheriff to replace the appointed county sheriff. And why is that? Because an elected county sheriff must face the voters every 4 years. If people die in the county jail, he needs to explain to the voters why they died, why they were mistreated, and he probably doesn't get reelected. So I am arguing to reduce the authority of the county executive who currently appoints the county sheriff. I think it's better that the citizens appoint the next county sheriff by a public vote than to have the county executive do it. I want the sheriff answerable to the citizens, not just to the county executive. That will create a safer environment in our jail and prevent people from dying and being mistreated in the county jail.
All right, so here's the headline I question of the day. If you become the Cuyahoga County executive and you push for this particular right, won't that take the power away from you?
It will. And I am arguing to reduce the authority of an office that I am seeking. That never happens.
Never.
I want
Never.
People want to consolidate power. I want to give it back to the people, especially on public safety. It is critical to me that we maintain a jail that is safe and humane. We can only do that when the sheriff has full control of the jail and the people have full authority over the sheriff.
So that means you want the people to have full control of the sheriff, not the Cuyahoga County executive. And if the sheriff is not doing his or her job, then you want the people to get rid of the sheriff, not the Cuyahoga County executive.
That's exactly correct.
So that means that would take less power away. Like I said, when you win, then it would take less power away from you. And yeah, I've never heard of that ever. And
Giving the power back to the people where it really truly belongs.
right, but and the thing about it is like I'm just gonna say this. I'll just be, I'm gonna say this, and I don't care who like me or not. People gonna call in. I have never heard of Republicans say that ever in life. I have never, ever in my life to reduce power. You have never heard Donald Trump ever say, ever, I will reduce power. And Colin is over here dying, and he understands, like, he knew I was going to say that. But the thing about it is like, it's absolutely true. Now, here's the thing with me as far as Ronayne. Ronayne is a Democrat. Aren't you worried about the Democratic ticket? We know there are some powerhouses on there like Shontel Brown and Darrell Brewer, things of that nature. And me and Jay always preach, don't vote down the ticket, period. So how do you combat that particular machine? Because how do you combat that?
I know that I'm outnumbered by party. The Republicans are much smaller number than the Democrats are, which is why I started this campaign so early, 2 full years ago, in the urban core, talking about issues that matter to families and to people, investing in the urban core, private home ownership, more jobs, more small businesses. The good news about local government, about county government, is we don't deal with social issues that are divisive and tear this country apart. Instead, we are an administrative government that gets money from the federal government and state government and what we raise locally to solve problems. I'm a problem solver. When I was county commissioner in the mid-1990s, I came in, the county lost $114 million in a scandal. In 2 years, I turned that around to a $40 million budget surplus without raising anybody's taxes or sacrificing the critical services of Cuyahoga County. I will do that again as county executive. I've talked to thousands of people. They're tired of the Democratic Party running county government. When I was county commissioner 25 years ago, we were the biggest county in Ohio. We were adding population and adding jobs. The last 2.5 decades, we've fallen to be number 2 county in Ohio. We're losing population. We're losing jobs. People have nothing to lose by voting for me for county executive, and they have everything to gain. Gain a future for themselves, for their families, and for their communities.
All right. Just move the light. People want to see your face. The mic is biting you. Your mic is blocking you right about now.
That's good.
That's wonderful. So
let's worry about that.
Yeah, let's worry about that. So, how do you gain the trust of the voters of Cuyahoga County if they're tired of certain parties? How do you gain the trust? How do you gain the trust of the voters once you are elected? How do you gain the trust of the voters?
Well, I follow through on my commitments, and I've been very specific in this campaign what I'm going to do. I talk about 10,000 homes, 4,000 jobs, 250 new small businesses. My opponent just talks about healthy this, healthy that. He makes no commitment on numbers, nothing that he can be held to account for. I am providing a roadmap for the voters to see how I do as the next county executive. And if I don't do well, they don't reelect me in 4 years. But I think I'll do well these 4 years. I believe the things I stand for, investment in the urban core, freezing property taxes for our senior citizens, and eliminating unfair double local income taxes are nonpartisan issues that Democrats and Republicans can come together on and get done. They're not social issues, they're economic issues that affect our families, especially now in this time of high inflation. We need to reduce the burden of county government, need to make government more responsive to the needs of our people, and invest in the urban core where we have our biggest challenges.
All right, so you got something in front of you, and I'm curious to know what that is. You said that, I think it's a text message that Mr. Ronayne sent to the mayor of Warrensville Heights, Brad Sellers. Would you like to read that for my audience, please? Please. I would like to know what it says and how, and the thing about it is like, because we know, and I know Brad, I like Brad. I don't think his ex-wife Kim Sellers likes Brad a little bit, just to be just FYI. I don't want to throw any pipe bombs out there. I think I did so, but I really at this particular point don't care. But go ahead and read what you got.
So on December 18th, 2021, Chris Ronayne sent the following text message to Brad Sellers. And to set the context, there had been discussion of Brad running for county executive for many weeks.
Right.
Many weeks. Here's what the text message says. Brad, got some calls about you yesterday that I didn't ask for from people who know you better than I do. You may want to hear some of it. It's pretty serious. I'm around if you want to talk. Now, the last text message between Brad Sellers and Chris Ronayne was 2 years previous to that text message. They were not text message buddies. That text message was a threat, an overt threat to release information about Brad Sellers that would harm his candidacy for county executive.
So that means that Chris Ronayne bullied Brad Sellers because I think in that time, Brad Sellers dropped out the race to be Cuyahoga County executive, correct?
Here's what I will say. Brad announced in early January, information came out about him that was negative, and he dropped out within a week. So it looks to me like Chris Ronayne made a threat on information that he had, and that he carried through on it in January.
But here's the thing, they're both Democrats, right?
They're both Democrats, but Chris Ronayne wanted to be county executive, and he knew that Brad Sellers was his major competitor in that primary. He needed to get Brad Sellers out of the race. Now, here is the best evidence to me that what Chris did was a threat to Brad Sellers. Chris likes to brag about all the mayors who have endorsed him, even the former mayors of Cleveland. But there's one mayor who has not endorsed Chris Ronayne. One mayor who's a Democrat, who comes from a majority Democratic city, who is well known, is indeed a celebrity. That mayor is Brad Sellers. Brad Sellers has not endorsed Chris Ronayne for county executive. That's all you need to know. Explains that text message perfectly to you.
So, and this is former NBA star with the Chicago Bulls, Brad Sellers.
He is a star.
Well, I mean, he's tall. You know, this is who endorses. And Brad Sellers never that I've known Brad Sellers in his career as being mayor of Warrensville Heights, has not endorsed a powerful Democratic Party, meaning he endorsed Shontel Brown. He endorsed other people, but if he has not endorsed Chris Ronayne, why are other people now looking at this saying something's wrong here in his own party?
They should be. It's just the Democratic Party is coalescing around Chris Ronayne. They are literally trying to carry him across the finish line. He has run an inept campaign. We already know he targeted black drivers. We know now that he threatened Brad Sellers. Last week, he made an outrageous claim that a former member of city council took money to endorse my campaign. He accused a black man of selling his endorsement to me. Chris Ronayne has a major problem in the black community. People are rallying around him to carry him across the finish line. I think black voters can see through it. They know about the targeting of black drivers. They know about the text message to Brad Sellers. And now they know that Chris Ronayne accused Bashir Jones of selling his endorsement.
So
we were just on our way when we were on our way over here. And I was telling you, look at all those lights flashing. Because it's
the East Cleveland cameras, the photo
and it was just flashing. You know, that's ridiculous. You can even employ, I mean, Euclid is poor. You know, I'm just getting back, but these things need to be checked. You got other serious things going on that need to be handled, like this jail situation.
Right. So, shout out to the queen with the going by Jay Price. Hello, Jay. Hello, Andre White, Lisa Lee Nelson. Lee, why are the Democrats insulating this man, but knowing that he's a threat to African American people if he does get elected, or anybody in jail or anything like that? Because it sounds like, I understand loyalty to the party, but do the Jedi mind trick role reversal. Isn't that the reason why we got Trump in the first place, because of dedication to the Republican Party?
I think the simple answer is patronage. The Democrats don't want to lose patronage in county government. They care more about getting their friends and relatives jobs in county government than they do about black voters and black families. And I care about the opposite. There's nobody I'm going to give a job to in county government that doesn't deserve it. I'm not about patronage. I'm about investing in our urban core, which is particularly black families and black citizens, to help lift them up, to bring them to where their white peers are in the suburbs. And this is why that's important. My housing initiative. In the 1930s and 1940s, the federal government gave guaranteed mortgages to white families to buy their first homes. That's how we got the middle class in suburban America. Black families were denied those guaranteed mortgages. 90 years later, the average white family's net worth is $240,000. The average black family's net worth is $24,000, 10 times less. 80% of that disparity can be traced back to the first home that white family got from the federal government. My 10,000 Homes initiative is simply a make-good, a make-up for the discriminatory practices of the federal government 90 years ago to get 10,000 black families on the road to home ownership and wealth generation.
So pretty much you want African American people to have generational wealth. Exactly. As far as owning their own home. That is and the thing about it is striving for and what we shoot for. Now, the question is with you, what other things that you want to implement for the East Side communities who have, let's be honest, city council people, county council people. So how would you work with the county council when you're elected?
So again, I think the things I'm talking about, investment in the urban core, freezing property taxes, going to a single county income tax, are not partisan issues. And I would hope that the Democrats who dominate the county council would see it that way. Let's talk about property tax freezes. A lot of African American families, particularly older couples, are struggling right now because of inflation to pay for gas, groceries, and other items, and they're struggling to pay their property taxes. I talked to a woman on the east side in Ward 1, 87 years old. She's owned her home since 1965. She paid her mortgage off decades ago. She fears losing her home to rising property taxes. She shouldn't lose her home. No older person should ever lose her home because of rising property taxes. So my plan is very straightforward. If you're 60 years old and have less than $50,000 a year of income, I will freeze your property taxes until you sell your home. That keeps you in your home longer, keeps you healthier and out of a nursing home. 60 years old, less than $50,000 a year in income, we freeze your property taxes. If you're paying $2,000 a year right now, you'll pay $2,000 a year until you sell the home.
All right, question from Lisa Lee Nelson. As Cuyahoga County Executive, how would you help others? How would you help the Cuyahoga County Council with cities that have a high crime rate? What would you do as far as that? Because let me explain something. You, as Cuyahoga County Executive, that position is high. Some even say higher than the mayor of the city of Cleveland. So how would you help those people in county council
So we
with a
talked
high
about
crime
the
rate?
sheriff's office earlier. The sheriff has deputies, about 150 sheriff's deputies. I want to add 100 deputies and create a county-wide major crime investigation unit so that the sheriff's deputies can take over investigating major crimes like murder, human trafficking, and other major crimes. That allows police officers in Cleveland and Euclid and other cities to have more time to have community-based policing in their neighborhoods. So the county will be responsible for solving crimes. The cities will be responsible for stopping crimes.
All right. It makes a hell of a lot of sense. Now, I'm going to just throw this out there. You have been going to get a lot of support. I know some pastors are leaning Democrat. That's what they usually do. I know the All Guard does it. But I know some new pastors like Pastor Kyle Early lean towards your way. He just recently got elected to the police commission for the city of Cleveland. Now, how would you sway others who are on the fence? They vote this way. What can you tell them now so that in November you can sit in that chair of being Cuyahoga County Executive?
I would tell them, look at the past. Nothing good has happened in this county for the past 25 years. We need new leadership. We need new investment in our urban core. My opponent is not talking about that, or frankly, anything that I can discern. I am committed to a $600 million program to promote 10,000 new private homeowners, a program to call on our expertise in manufacturing, our 3 excellent healthcare systems, and our Great Lake to create 4,000 good-paying jobs, and a $10 million fund to help urban entrepreneurs create 250 new small businesses. That's a vision for the urban core that creates wealth that starts and stays in the urban core. I'm the only candidate with a vision to make this a better county for all of us, a place to live, to work, to raise your family, and to retire.
Okay, so now election day is coming up. You're going to need poll workers for those volunteers. How can people volunteer to work on the polls for you?
So we'd love to have them help us. What's the best way, Colin?
We have a link that we can send out to all your listeners. Also, you can visit Weingart2022.com.
Okay.
You can volunteer.
Yeah, so Weingart, Weingart, 2022.com. There's a sign up tab on the website, and we'll get right back to you. It'll be 5 days tomorrow until Election Day.
Right.
We've already got over 100 people who are volunteering at the polls for us. It's remarkable being a Republican and having such great support, especially on the East Side. People want to help this campaign. They are invested in the campaign. They see themselves in the campaign. So we've got a great team put together largely by Colin Jackson, and we're going to make sure that we carry this over the finish line on November 8th. I become the next county executive, and I work with all the pastors. It doesn't matter to me who endorsed my opponent. I'll work with anybody who will work with me to make this a better community for everybody.
All right. Jay Price said, "Hey, Colin." And vote Lee Weingart. She's saying she's in singing your praises right now, even as she's dealing with something. So I'm going to say this: when you are a Cuyahoga County executive, how would you work with the mayors, especially the current mayor of the city of Cleveland, Justin and Bibb, to make the city better and the county better?
So I've known Justin for a very long time. I gave Justin his first job. He was a summer intern for my company in 2007. Did a wonderful job working for us that summer. Someone once asked me, who is more powerful, the county executive or the mayor of the city of Cleveland? And I said, that's an easy one. The county executive and the mayor of the city of Cleveland. When you unite the county and the city, there is no problem you can't solve. I look forward to working with Justin Bibb in the city of Cleveland to invest in the urban core, to bring wealth back to Cleveland. It hasn't seen for 100 years. Justin is a friend of mine. He's doing a good job as mayor right now. I want to make sure that he and I work together to bring wealth, opportunity, and resources to the city of Cleveland.
Well, some people say that he would need some help, but I'm just saying that, give him a chance. Here's the thing, though. And it sounds like from the last administration with Budish and Jackson that there was what mistakes did you see in that last administration with Armand Budish being the Cuyahoga County exec and Mayor Frank Jackson being the mayor of the city of Cleveland? What mistakes did you see?
So I didn't see much collaboration between the county and the city. The last time we've had collaboration between the county and the city was in 1995. A guy named Mike White and I worked together to bring the Browns back to Cleveland. We passed a sin tax extension in 1995, and then Mike White and I hopped on an airplane, went to Atlanta to meet with the owners to argue that the Browns should be back in Cleveland. And lo and behold, they came back. Again, when the county and the city work together, they can do magical, wonderful things.
So wait a minute. Mayor Mike White and yourself, right?
That's correct.
Is the reason that the Cleveland Browns are back in Cleveland, even though the old Browns are in Baltimore. We ain't going to talk about that, but reason that there was a victory on Monday night last night down at Cleveland Brown Stadium when the Browns trounced the Cincinnati Bengals 32-13. So you're the reason with Mayor Michael White that brought prosperity and jobs down to that new First Energy Stadium, correct?
Indeed. I put the sin tax extension on the ballot so that people could vote on it for themselves. The Sunday before that vote, Art Modell announced he was taking the team to Baltimore, thinking, I'm sure, if I announce I'm leaving on a Sunday, they'll never vote for an extension of a tax on a Tuesday. Well, Tuesday came, and the voters passed that extension by a 72% margin, the biggest margin of any tax in Cuyahoga County history. We use that as evidence to go to the NFL owners and say, look, we are so crazy for football in Cleveland, we voted to tax ourselves for a team that no longer exists. They saw that commitment to the NFL, to football, and we brought the team back 2 years later, and we had a team on the field, and they did look good Monday night. And I'll tell you, Larry, we were down there shaking hands. We had 7 or 8 people at all the entrances to the Brown Stadium shaking hands. I saw thousands and thousands of voters stream by me. They kept saying, hey, Lee, good to see you. I voted for you. End Rita, freeze property taxes. You're the guy. Because I was with the people. I'm not sure where my opponent was on Monday night. And I've been down there now 3 Browns games and Guardians games. I love interacting with the voters, hearing what they have to say, and asking for their support on November 8th.
So, and I seen you though. I seen you at one of the Sunday, and yeah, you're down there. You're everywhere in the community. You're over there at the Academy Tavern on Larchmere. Shout out to Chris, the owner.
Big shout out.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris.
Hey,
What's up, Chris?
so you gotta love Chris. He's so enthusiastic.
He is.
And the thing about it is, like you've been everywhere in the African American community. And fun fact, your office is in Ward 1.
That's correct.
That is Lee and Harbor. That is the biggest voting African American community on the East Side.
That's where I grew up at.
So and that's Councilman Joe Jones' ward. So how has your interaction been with Councilman Jones?
So we were very intentional in putting our main campaign office in the city of Cleveland on the east side in the biggest voting area, which of course is Ward 1. I worked with Joe last year. So last year we helped 8 African-American owned restaurants survive the pandemic. We secured $400,000 for those restaurants. Many of them were in Ward 1 in Joe Jones's ward. In fact, Joe and I spent the day in the rain knocking on doors of restaurants saying, hey, there's a program that can get you $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to help get through the pandemic. We wore out some shoe leather that day. We talked to entrepreneurs, we talked to restaurateurs who were desperately in need of funding, and Joe and I made that happen. We brought money back to Ward 1. Not just that, we also worked with the Harvard Community Services Center to secure $80,000 to put a new roof on the Harvard Community Services Center. That facility used to leak like a sieve.
It
and
did.
now it's tight as a drum.
I can shout out to the ghostings. Yeah, it did. It did leak like that. I was afraid I was gonna slip somewhere every time it rained in the Harvard Community Services. I'm just being honest. Y'all crack up y'all want to.
Okay.
Hey, and tomorrow, speaking of the Harvard Community Services Center, we've got a lunch and learn at noon. So I will be there tomorrow, Thursday, November 3rd, at the Harvard Community Services Center, talking about issues like freezing property taxes, investing in the urban core, making a better community for everybody. So I invite you to come. It's a free lunch. It's a lunch on us.
We got
From Zanzibar. It's a free lunch.
Free lunch from Zanzibar?
From Zanzibar. But you got to be there tomorrow. So tomorrow at noon at the Harvard Community Services Center. That's Thursday, November 3rd, noon. Free lunch from Zanzibar. Listen to Lee Weingart talk about how to make Ward 1 and our community stronger and safer.
Say free lunch Thursday.
You know what? Shut up. You know what? I don't need you to bring that up. Might be. I might be. I don't know. I might be. I will be there if I ain't gotta donate blood or something. I'll be there. But
Enlighten me. Where is this?
Harvard Community Services Center is on.
in Ward 1.
Yeah, not it.
Rec or?
No, it's up past.
A little bit
farther
east of the old JFK. Not the new JFK, the old JFK.
The new JFK is on Miles. The old JFK on Harvard. It's a little bit east. It's like
Let me
100.
explain. I am from here.
Right.
I moved back from
Oh,
Florida.
okay.
Right.
Welcome
Okay.
back.
Welcome.
You'll get your map back soon.
Right.
Yeah, I lost my
yeah.
house and everything here, and I got family in Florida.
Oh,
It was all
no.
underwater, so
Wow.
yeah, I'm back. So I'm re-affiliating myself with
Well,
the
welcome
city
home.
again. You know what I mean? So I grew up in that area, and I'm not completely familiar to where this
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
So just I would say, Google Harvard
I'll get it.
Community Services Center. The address is there. Elaine Goldstein is the CEO. She does a wonderful job. It really is. It's the bulwark of Ward 1. All of the training, all the support, all the distribution of food, all the holiday parties, a lot of political events, debates and things like that. It really is a place where the community can go and get support. Just the address.
Yeah.
Address. So
So the
There's a-
address, oops, let's see, is, I lost it.
I'll get it. 1840.
Okay, so we're gonna get it. So I've seen that you have employed the brain over here, Mr. Colin Jackson, young African American. How about young African American men? We just lost an artist to gun violence takeoff of the Migos not too long ago, a day ago. How do you get African American men involved? African American women are involved always been involved? How you get African American men, young African American men involved in this process like Colin here?
So we want to bring into government anybody who wants to make it a better community. As you know, I was endorsed by Bashir Jones, and I got to know a lot of his younger mentees, his disciples. There's some really great young men that are working with Bashir. They want to start businesses, they want to support families, they want to do the right thing. So they are the perfect prototype for my $10 million fund to invest in the urban core in entrepreneurs who've got good ideas to grow small businesses. We need to provide resources to African American men so they can help start businesses, support their families. But those who want to enter the government, who want to come in, who are motivated by public service, I want to have an opportunity for African American men and women to come into a Weingart administration to work on our 10,000 Homes Initiative, our 4,000 Jobs Initiative, and our Urban Entrepreneurial Fund Initiative, and everything else we're going to be doing. So it's an open door for those who want to help make our community better.
So pretty much you're trying to make the community better. What is the main issue that you see? You know, we talk about generational wealth. We talk about freezing the taxes. We talk about, community, career. We talked about reducing crime. We talked about everything else. Now, being honest, I heard your opponent touch on some of the things when y'all had a debate as far as that. Now, the one thing that maybe women are concerned about is the Roe v. Wade turnaround, the right to their bodies and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
How do you answer those questions as far as the women are concerned?
So in being county executive, I have no authority over abortion law in the state of Ohio. That's something that's set by the General Assembly in Columbus or by Congress if they decide to act on the matter. But there are things we can do in Cuyahoga County. Now, recognize we're probably going to have more people giving birth in Cuyahoga County. We want to make sure that pregnant women have access to quality health care. So we need community-based clinics to help pregnant moms ensure that they deliver healthy children. That's number one. Number two, for moms who want to keep their children, we need to make sure they have the resources to raise healthy children. And number three, moms who can't keep their children, we need to make sure we have enough foster care and adoptive families to raise healthy children. So we can't change the law in Ohio, but we can react to it and make sure we have healthy births and healthy children.
How would you help ex-felons?
So I've got a lot of ideas around that. Last year, I worked with a guy in Glenville. We took a home off of 10-5 that was going to be demolished, and we're turning it into supportive housing for 4 women coming from the state prison system. They'll get an address, makes it easier to get a job, and then they'll be back on the straight and narrow, back in the community. I want to do that repeatedly. That's one example, one prototype project. We do that 100 times and provide housing and addresses for people coming back from the federal and state prison system with an address they can get a job. We want to build on things like Edwin's Institute, which is a nonprofit organization in Shaker Heights that takes formerly incarcerated people and trains them in the culinary arts, in food preparation, in restaurants and things like that. Take that idea to other industries like the trades, landscaping, taking care of trees, accounting, areas that don't require a college degree, just some training. But the most important thing is to end collateral sanctions. So when you come from the prison system, you might be free, but you're never really free of your record until that record is expunged. So I want to create an expungement court so that those who have paid their debt to society, who are back on the straight and narrow, can have their records expunged and be full citizens again.
I see that it's 7:56, and you are a wealth of knowledge, Lee. Every time I talk to you, it's like I'm learning something new every day here, for real, and it's great. Now the thing about it is that just overall, we faced in the Cuyahoga County executive position challenges with federal government, blemishes under that place, investigations in Cuyahoga County Jail. When you are elected Cuyahoga County executive, do I, as a voter, as a citizen of Cleveland, as a Cuyahoga County resident, Do I got to worry about some crazy stuff happening downtown or in the offices? Do I have to worry about the feds coming down there and investigating you and your administration like they did with Boo? Do I have to worry about that? Do I have to worry about seeing y'all in the first 48 on the evening news or anything like that? Do I have to worry about that?
The answer is no. I've been out of office for 26 years. I'm coming back to run because I know there are problems that I can solve. I don't need the money from this office. I've had the great fortune to run a company for the past 20 years. I've hired great people and I've worked with great people. So I'm in it for the right reasons. I don't need the money, but I do need to help people. And that's why I'll be a county commissioner that toes the line. The rules will be enforced against everybody equally. No more insider deals. No more taking care of the fat cats. This is about taking care of the people who've not had an opportunity for over 100 years. You'll never see my face on the front of the plain dealer with the word indictment next to it.
Okay, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I've been
Before-
sitting silent, just listening.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Thing in here. I wanted to go back on the programs that you were talking about with people that are coming out of incarceration and things like that. How are those programs being funded? Are they through like donations or?
So the county's made a lot of mistakes the last 15 years. They built a convention center, a medical mart, and a Hilton Hotel.
God.
The Hilton Hotel and the medical mart together cost us $50 million every year. That's 10% of the county general fund. I will sell the Hilton Hotel and I will sell the medical mart. That together will save us $50 million a year. That money is invested directly into the community in the form of my 10,000 Homes Initiative, 4,000 jobs, and my effort to freeze property taxes. We stop making bad investments. We get back to the basic blocking and tackling of government. We take care of people who need our support, and we invest in our people.
Right. And besides, if this don't help you, if your wife makes the best desserts right about now, like at the farmer's market on Shaker Square, like she makes the best desserts. I'm like, I was at one of his fundraisers at Shaker County Country Club, the Shaker Country Club, and it was like on the.
Yeah, they look good.
Shout out for my
I
wife.
saw them on a commercial.
Right.
They're good.
Instagram, it's Lizzie's Bakery, LIZZIE''S Bakery. It's all nut-free bakery products named for our daughter Lizzie. And we have two other children, Ned and Ethan, sons. My wife has been working so hard to build this business. And Larry, thank you for shouting her out. She deserves it. She works harder than I do building her business.
All right, I got to shout her out. I'm trying to help you out, making sure you don't sleep on the couch tonight. One of us. But here's the thing. I got one more question, and we're going to wrap this up. All right, black fist up to you, Lee Weingart, and everybody else has been, especially you, Colin, for working hard.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
When you are elected, you gonna stop in here when you get elected? You gonna stop? You ain't gonna forget us. You ain't gonna forget this show.
I've answered that question so many times. Of course I will be back. I'll be back as often as you'll have me, Larry. I visited probably 4 churches in the last 2 years. I said the same thing. I'm coming back. This is not about just a campaign. This is about being in the community, being the most public official you'll ever meet.
Hands on.
What I've loved about this campaign is meeting people and talking to people. I'm not going to stop doing that as county executive. In fact, I'll do more of it. So when you invite me, I will be here.
All right.
You're not just gonna be in the office and telling people to transfer the call and you busy and stuff like that, right?
I give out my cell phone number.
Yes, he does.
He
gives it out
does.
to everyone.
216
Oh no!
496 3416.
And
That's the cell phone number of the next county executive.
right.
All
So
right.
all right.
His word.
All right, so I got to turn this, Lee, thank you very much. Colin, thank you very much. The Human T-Rex show is on at 9 p.m. I got to end it, and the thing about it is I got to end it with a Migos song, and Lee has said what he's going to do when he is Cuyahoga County Executive. Lee, thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry.
No problem. And if nobody tells you that they love you today, I do. we're going to go out of here. I know it was a long segment. Thank you, Jay, for chiming in. Thank everybody, Lisa Lee Nelson, everybody else that chimed in. Listen, vote on November 8th or go vote early, pretty much, period, point blank. So we got to go. So we got to get out of here.
My
And
birthday is tomorrow.
and
too.
and Shayla Jackson's birthday is tomorrow. Her party is at Mr. Max. I'm sure Lee's gonna stop there at her birthday party on
Tell me where it is,
Mr.
I'm gonna be
It's
there.
on Harvard.
Max on-
If you tell me where it is, I'm going to be there.
Oh, no, we're
It's
gonna
on
find out. We'll be
Harvard.
there.
Mr. Max.